Hi friends, today we're gonna have a new kata called Coding Meetup number 3, higher order function series, is Ruby coming? So in this kata, we have the same or very similar lists and as in the previous two, but this time we have to check if at least one person in the list has his or her language as Ruby, right? So if that's true, if at least one of them is a Ruby developer, then we should return true. Otherwise, we are returning false. So, are you ready? Let's begin. First of all, I am opening the tests, and I am importing the chai assertion library. So const expect equal require chai, right? So that gives me the expect function. Then I am updating the list 1 and list 2 to be const. Just that's how I like to roll. And I'm creating a describe function which is going to describe is Ruby coming, right? Oh. Is Ruby coming? And I have a callback. Inside this callback, I will have two it functions. So first one should be works with list 1, right? Because I have two lists, I have to do two checks. And I expect that is Ruby coming single n with the list 1, right? To be, and this time I'm just going to use true. That's available. Chai has this option. If you just want to be it to be true, you can just do that to be true, right? An alternative would be something like that. Alternative would be to be equal to true, but as you can see, this one is a bit shorter and maybe a bit easier to read. So I'm using this one. And second one works with list 2. I'm expecting is Ruby coming with the list 2 to be false this time, right? Because how do I know that? First of all, look, in the first list, Madison from the United States is a Ruby developer. In the second list, it's like Sophia and Lucas, but none of them are Ruby developers. Also, these tests, which are like pre-written for me, these also give me a clue that the first one is true, the second one is false. But I won't be using them, just my brand new tests. So let's see if I make any mistakes. It cannot find any. So let's move to the actual function. Okay, so before we start, think what function will you be using, right? My immediate idea is to use the reduce, because I get a list and I may expect just a single answer, right? So just either the result has to be true or the result has to be false. That is like as simple as that. So const is Ruby coming is equal list, again, just one argument, so don't need to wrap it inside parentheses. Then a list reduce, and the reduce syntax takes a bit to learn it, but it is rather a useful function. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to name the result as the first parameter and item as the second one. Also, the initial value will be 0, right? So I'm immediately writing that. That might look strange, but this gives me like this window to work with. So I will be returning result, and only if the result is false, so that means or item.language is equal to Ruby, right? That's so either the result is true, right? Or if the result is false, then I'm checking if the item language is Ruby. If that's true, so then I am returning this one. Okay, let's see if that works. Let's try to run an example. Hooray, it looks like everything's working. But before we kind of stop, let's do a bit of a refactoring, okay? So first of all, I noticed while I was typing that I could destructure this argument and just pull the language, right? And this way I don't need to write item right here. So I just care about the language. Second of all, I realized that this might not be the reduce might not be the best function for this job. Okay, let me show you what I mean. There is another function which it's named sum, and what it does, it checks if at least one of the items in an array passes the test with true value. Okay, so it returns true, right? So at least one. So let me show you how it looks like. This function is like easier because it just has this one parameter, one argument, and I'm immediately destructurizing it again. And what test do I have to do? I just have to have this section of the test, right? Just care if the language is Ruby. And I purposefully have written the one like below the other for you to compare how much shorter this first one is. This second one is, sorry, the first one is longer. And reduce, it is a very good tool. It's like super powerful tool, but it is like an all-around tool. You can use reduce for like a lot of problems. Like basically, probably you can use reduce for whatever, and the other functions are more specific versions of the reduce, right? So you can get the same result using reduce and using sum. Just sum is like the perfect function for this job, right? So again, sum only cares if at least one is true, then the result will be true. So I'm deleting my first one, right? And trying to pass my tests again. And again, they have passed. Let's try to submit to the official solution. That is great. This passes too. So I hope you liked it, and see you in the next kata. Bye, friends.